Travel blogs, your mom, and even some government websites are all giving you the same terrible travel security advice that's making you a walking target. Here are 8 tips you may be following that are actually putting you in danger. The first, beware, careful talking to strangers. Better not risk it and trust nobody. I mean, it's kind of logical, I guess, because if you avoid everyone, then technically also you're avoiding the bad guys. But there's 2 problems. The first, what a boring and lonely trip. And second, this advice lumps friendly locals and scammers together. Some of your best early safety warnings come from those locals saying, be careful walking down that street, or watch your bag when you're walking through here. When I used to walk around what some might consider the hood in Colombia, I made friends everywhere. The guy selling avocados on the corner, the lady from the panaderia, the neighborhood gym owner, the restaurant delivery guy. These people became my eyes and ears and were all watching out for the one gringo in their neighborhood. Now, obviously, when you're deciding who to interact with, you want to do a quick gut check. Engage with locals who give you good vibes and avoid those who sketch you out. I personally like to inspect the person's facial expression and the way they carry their bodies to determine if it's a good idea to talk to them or not. But even apart from those 2 things, normally your spidey sense instincts will go off when something's not quite right. That said, there is one exception to this. If you're like me, you were trained from a young age to respect and obey authority. Police, security guards, anyone with a badge or a uniform. After all, they're supposed to be the ones protecting you, right? Wrong. Scammers like to exploit this inherent trust by disguising themselves with uniforms, badges, and those reflective vests. Our walking tour guide in Mexico even warned us about fake policemen that dressed up in Mexico to intimidate and steal from tourists. And obviously, bribes are a thing with real cops as well in many countries. In touristy European train stations, scammers will dress up in uniforms and then help travelers buy their ticket while they sneakily pick their pockets. This can be a tricky one because you obviously don't want to blatantly disobey a real foreign official. But real officials should have proper identification and follow certain protocols. So just ask to see their badge or their identification up close because real police won't mind. And if someone approaches you claiming to be an official, you have the right to ask for their supervisor or ask to go to the nearest police station. When you do this, any scammers are going to disappear fast. Next, most travel guides recommend money belts to hide all your valuables. I mean, it sounds logical, keep everything hidden under your clothes where thieves can't see it. But the problem is, don't you think thieves know about money belts? Sure, it might be hidden when you're not struggling to pay for something, but the real issue is that it's a single point of failure. If it's compromised, you lose everything at once. A safer approach is to distribute your valuables. Use something like a Scotty vest or other clothes with secret pockets to spread out your money and valuables in different places. Or if you insist on using that uncomfortable money belt, only carry what you need for that day. And when you withdraw larger amounts of money from the ATM, I always like to immediately split it in half and store it in 2 separate places on your body until I get back to my hotel where I can hide the bulk of it, the stuff that I don't need for that day, in all the hiding spots that I share in this video. Next, everyone always warns travelers not to flaunt their wealth while traveling, which can obviously make you a target. Colombians even have a saying for this. They say, don't offer papaya, that they warn tourists about, so to not show off their expensive items. The problem is when travelers end up taking this to the extreme, they end up unprepared for sticky situations. For example, we all know that walking down the street with your nose glued to your iPhone 20 is basically begging a thief to take it from you. So some might think it's a clever idea to use a dumb phone like a flip phone and leave your smartphone safe at home in your hotel. But what happens in an emergency situation when you actually need the features of your smartphone? You might not feel so clever when you realize that that cheap flip phone doesn't have a translation app to get help from locals, Google Maps to avoid dangerous areas, or even internet at all to look up security info for your location. There's nothing wrong with having a decoy phone to deter thieves if that makes you more secure, but you should also carry your real phone hidden on your body that has an internet connection just in case. The easiest way to do this on most phones is to load up a travel eSIM like Olafly onto your phone before you leave home. Setup takes like 2 minutes all by yourself and you get a step-by-step instructions email right after you make your purchase. I've been using their travel data plans for 3 years now and I like how they focus on unlimited data plans unlike some other companies who have smaller ones that you constantly need to top up. If I find myself in a sketchy situation, the last thing that I want is to realize that my my data right now. I just want it to work whenever I need it, whether that be to use a translation app to ask some locals for help, or to quick pull up a map so that my taxi driver doesn't drive around in circles and run up the meter. Olafly eSIMs are super flexible, and you can choose the exact number of days that you need for your trip, and they have coverage in over 200 destinations around the world. Or if you're like me and traveling more long-term, they also offer an unlimited monthly subscription plan that is one eSIM that works in over 160 countries. You can grab a discount on an Olafly eSIM using the link in the description or discount code PROJECTUNTETHERED at checkout. Big thanks to Olafly for sponsoring this video. Next, if someone sketchy approaches you, many travelers' default reaction is to avoid eye contact and don't engage and pretend they don't exist. Trying not to attract the attention of the bad guys sounds smart, right? Well, if someone's already lingering near you, simply avoiding eye contact isn't going to make you invisible. But what it does do is make you look scared and vulnerable, and scared tourists are exactly what thieves are hunting for. Direct eye contact with a confident no thanks while you continue walking is usually way better than looking like a frightened deer. But there is some nuance here. This would mostly apply to more touristic areas where there's other people around. If you're alone walking down an empty street, then yes, keep your distance. In Colombia, when I used to walk home from salsa class every night, if I saw someone coming down the street from far away, I would cross to the other side of the street, and the one time that I didn't do this, someone tried to rob me. Luckily, it was an embarrassingly bad thief, but that's a story for another day. Next, you'll find that a lot of travel guides recommend that you stay close to the tourist areas because it's safer there. Tourist zones have security, crowds, and help nearby. This may be true, but in many cities, tourist zones are actually the most targeted areas for pickpockets and scammers. La Rambla in Barcelona, the Eiffel Tower in Paris, the pyramids in Egypt. These are just a few examples of where scammers and pickpockets hunt for oblivious tourists. With that in mind though, I'm not saying to never visit tourist attractions. That'd just be ridiculous. What I'm saying is that you don't need to be scared to venture away from the top tourist strip. Obviously, don't wander up into the favelas, or if you're in a dangerous city, ask the good vibe locals for advice, or use that eSIM to look up security information on your phone. But in many cases, you'll find that the local hidden gems outside of the tourist areas are actually less risky than the tourist attractions themselves. Locking up your backpack zippers helps prevent theft, right? Not always. This is what I call the luggage piñata effect. A big shiny lock screams, "Hey, I've got some juicy, expensive stuff all packed into this one bag." It makes your bag the most interesting bag on the bus, or in that hostel dorm, or in the hotel's luggage storage area. Now, if your bag is on or near you, then using a lock may actually help deter opportunistic theft. But if it would be easy for that thief to just grab your entire bag and run, then that lock of yours just makes it all the more enticing for him. So what are you supposed to do then? Two options. Either hide your stuff in secret spots without locking them, or use something like a pack safe, which you can essentially lock to fixed objects so a thief can't grab it and run away. I'd say pack safe bags look pretty low key for the most part, and some of them even have flaps you can cover on top of the locking mechanism to not make it so obvious. The problem is that the PackSafe logo itself might give it away to some more savvy thieves, so if you want to be extra careful, you could just cover the logo with some tape or something. Next is most travelers' first instinct to get into their hotel room and store all their valuables in the hotel room safe. It's secure, it's in your room. What could go wrong? Well, what could go wrong is that hotels have a master code that a lot of times the staff have access to. Sometimes staff open the safes using this code in plain view of the guests, and so you really have no idea how many people actually have this master code. So how are you supposed to protect your stuff in your hotel room then? I cover all that in this video, plus several other hotel security vulnerabilities that hotels don't want you to know about. There's some easy little things that you can do to secure your room yourself, so I highly recommend watching it next. Like, subscribe, do the things. Love you. Bye-bye.